Hi guys, this is Katie with Salty Pearl Crochet, and today I'm going to show you my favorite method for making a scrap yarn cake. Now, some of you guys might not know exactly what I'm talking about, and so I brought a huge one to show you. This monster is going to be a corner-to-corner scrap blanket. I decided for my second blanket though that I didn't want to have to sew in so many ends. So instead of just cutting the yarn as I go, I made it into a giant cake so that I could do it really quickly. So here's how you can get started. The first thing you want to do is gather your little yarn balls. These are just little scraps left over. They can be as long as you want them. You can use, half a skein of yarn if you want, or you can use smaller segments. For my blanket, I wanted my stripes to be about between like 20 and 40 yards long, so I just measured out that little bit and cut them. So I'm going to start off with, I'm going to start off with green. So this first part is easy. We're just going to thread our yarn winder as normal, and we're going to wind this little ball slowly so it doesn't fall off onto my floors. We're going to wind it onto the yarn winder. So if you're making a scrap yarn cake from new yarn, sometimes it's easier to just wind a couple rotations as you go. But for these, I decided to cut them already. So now that we're at the end of this, we're going to pause and we're going to attach it with a magic knot to the next color, which I think is going to be our orange. Let's do that. It'll be nice and easy for you guys to see here. So what we are going to do is we're going to pull this yarn out just a couple inches. You're going to take the end and just tie a really simple knot, like a square knot around there. Just loop it once and pull it as tight as you can. Now we're going to take the free end of the other color and tie it just a little farther up on this side. So I'm going to loop it through one time and pull it as tight as I possibly can. Now you should have something like this where you see you've got a little hole with green on one side, orange on the other side, and your two yarn tails sticking out. So we're going to pull them together, and now we have a knot, which is our color change. Now this, you are going to feel it just a little bit, but if it's in a blanket and not like a sweater that's going up against your neck, it's going to be just fine. And these knots are so tight that they won't come apart even in the wash, so you can just trim off your ends as closely as you can get them. There you go. And now we're ready to keep winding. So we're going to slowly start up winding again. And as you can see, we've just made our first color change in our yarn cake. Great. I'm super excited. I love making these because it's just so fun. Even sometimes I get my kids to help me, which right now is a huge bonus because it keeps them sitting still and entertained for a couple minutes. Alright, so now we're at the end of our second color, and I'm going to tie it to our next color. We're literally just doing the same thing, just tying a little bitty knot on one end and coming back, tying another little bitty knot on the other side. Pull it tight. Pull them both tight, and then we're going to trim our little ends off. Do be careful though, because if you get in a groove, you might be like me and accidentally cut your actual yarn off, which is never fun because then you have to cut off the knot and retie it, and then you feel like a doofus the whole time because you cut the wrong one. Good times. So here is our next color, this nice little tan. You also are free to choose, obviously whichever colors you like. I kind of tend to choose more, like, I guess earthy colors, maybe. This orange is kind of out of my, I think someone gave me the orange. But the more time you put into making sure that your colors are right for you, the happier you're going to be with the end result of what you make from this yarn cake. So let's see, one more little knot here. There you go. And then again, you just quickly snip these ends off. Now that I just said that whole bit about snipping off the wrong end, I'm like so worried Phew, did it. All right. And that is how you make a scrap yarn cake. Really, it is that simple. Just do this. Now if you know how to wind a ball of yarn by hand, you can do the same thing. And for my monster over here, obviously I did not wind that entire guy by hand. So once your yarn cake is too big, you can simply slide him off here, attach your new yarn color, and continue winding by hand, just the same way that you would wind a yarn ball by hand any other way. And there you have it, a nice tidy little yarn cake that you can use for any of your scrap yarn projects. I hope that was helpful and you guys loved it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching.